Hey, Steve Riley, welcome to this episode of Great Practice, Great Life. And today we're going to go right at that intersection of building a great practice and a great life. And I have, as I mentioned in the intro, a well-known author, well-known keynote speaker, and really a totally fun guy that I've been enjoying talking to and getting to know. And that's Matthew Emerzian. Matthew, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Steve. It's good to be here.
It's great
Appreciate
to
it.
have you here. And you've created a global phenomenon around one conversation or one statement that comes off your book, Why Every Monday Matters. And I'd really like you to talk to our audience about what was the genesis for this book? What was the genesis for this really global movement that you've created?
Yeah, thanks. A lot of people think that I wanted to create like a Monday makeover program, and there is something to that, but that was not what inspired this idea. What inspired this idea was on a Monday morning. I woke up with a massive panic attack, which turned into chronic anxiety disorder and depression, and it was a Monday that changed my life forever. And at the same time, I will say this: that I actually love Mondays. I always have, even when I was a young kid. It was the day to go back to school, see my friends, play soccer, whatever it was. So I've never understood why we have restaurants that thank God for Fridays. It's just a weird TGIF, whatever the restaurants are. Like let's start Mondays off inspired, and it's a new beginning, and take the week on and see what we can create and inspire. So um but ultimately it's I went through a very challenging time on starting on a Monday morning, and I just wanted to give a cadence to help people just start the week off in a much more productive way, and instead of dreading Mondays and having it ruining the second half of our Sundays as well. Like let's own it and again get Monday back.
You're really into a mission-driven mindset. So talk more about the mattering mindset and kind of unfold a little bit what you mean by reframing and how you deal with the nitty-gritty of it.
Yeah. So the mattering mindset at the core of the model is this idea that mattering matters. And I'm one that believes that I'm yet to meet a person on my 55 years on this planet that doesn't want to feel like their life matters. The question then is, how do we go out there and find that mattering? How do we find that purpose, our identity, our meaning, significance? And that I think becomes the journey of life, right? And so understanding that that's at our core, and then we have three perspectives that we wrap around that. One is understanding that I matter, and there's the good, the bad, the ugly of who I am. But inherently, I have value. Of 8 billion people in this world, there's only one of me, and that alone makes me special and unique, right? And then there's the you matter, which is how I impact those around me with my thoughts, my actions, my words, and every day we wake up, we have choices. We make 38,000 decisions a day as adults. How many of those are based in this idea that I can bring positivity and this inspiration and lift up those around me, even if they're total strangers? And then the final ring is the we matter, that we are a part of something bigger and that we're better together. And how can we find ways to connect and come together and build community and connection, all for the sense of a greater good? And so that's at the very core of the model. The question then is, how do you take this idea of I matter, you matter, we matter, and start to bring it into your professional life or your personal life? And for us, the next level that we go to is we really dig into values that matter. And so I strongly believe in the power of values, especially in times of uncertainty, in times of stress and change. If we can hold true to some values that are just non-negotiably, like this is who I am, this is what my company stands for, and we can hold true to those, they start to change the way we see things. We start to change our behaviors, and all of a sudden, you'll start to see cultures and climates change that we get on this path. So when it comes for me now, I don't even have to think about it anymore because I've been doing this for so long that every single day when I wake up, I just I, I see the world through I, you, and we. I'm weird. Like I'll say hi to you in the elevator. My wife says it's creepy. I think it's weird that we ignore each other. These very basic fundamental things of what it means to be human start to come alive again. It's like, oh wow, I feel a deeper connection. I feel a greater purpose. That, oh, that person I just said hi to, who knows, maybe they're having a really hard time. And you start to see how powerful we are, and we get to create whatever it is that we want to create. Although in corporate America, what I see a lot of is people saying, hey, the culture here at our firm or our company is really toxic. It's we don't want to work here. I don't like it. Um, but they talk about things like that, like as though they're standing here and the culture's over there. Like they're not a part of that culture. They're a viewer of what that culture is, and they don't like it. Well, the fact is, if you work somewhere, you are that culture too. And so, what can then you do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to start to create the culture you want to be a part of? And I think if we all take on that understanding, but then the commitment to take action. And I think that's the biggest part of everything that we do at Every Monday Matters is I can help you understand I matter, you matter, we matter, but then what are you going to do about it? And we operationalize this mattering through our programs. So we say, okay, here's a plan for you to go out and do and take action upon, and you'll get to experience the power of mattering. And that's what ultimately transforms people and organizations and ecosystems.
One of the things we've asked you to do is we're asking you to speak at our 2026 summit. And you're going to keynote on the conversation. The topic is called Human Centered Leadership: How to
Mhm.
Prioritize Mental Health, Increase Well Being, Mitigate Burnout Across High Performing Teams.
Yep.
And one of the reasons we asked you to speak about this is because, as you talked about the we, you and we, is our lawyers are drivers. Like, they are high performers, and they have a tendency to not only burn themselves out, but burn their teams out. So
Yep.
could you give us a little glimpse of what you'll be talking about at the summit, why it matters to our members, to our audience, and why it's gonna matter to their teams?
Yeah, I mean, at the core of human-centered design, and this goes back to the Stanford D School, they realize that the first step in any sort of design that is human-centered is the concept of empathy. And so diving into this idea of empathy, for me, it's again, this is where talking about practices and talking about just, the human journey, it's an interesting line. When I went through my dark times, when I had my breakdown and I was going through the depression and everything I was going through, for the first time for me, I experienced and understood how someone might feel when they say these things like, "I just don't wanna live anymore." Like, I don't like this life. I'm dark, I'm depressed, I'm hopeless, I'm helpless. Before that, my life was for the most part pretty good. If it's a spectrum of emotions and pure joy is on this side and complete despair is over here, I was like 80% on the spectrum of things were decent. But ultimately, I didn't know what that remaining, let's say 10% of human experience was. Once I experienced it, it's kind of a door you can never shut because now you know what's possible for people to experience. For me, what that did is it just supercharged my empathy muscle. And so, because I never wanted anyone to go through what I went through, and that is largely what inspired me to start this whole journey of Every Monday Matters. If I could be that person that shows up in a time when someone just needs it more than ever, even for a millisecond, for me to say, "Hi, how are you?" and for that person to feel seen, heard, or loved, because that's exactly what they needed at that time, then that was gonna be the gift that I wanted to bring to the world. I think when it comes to your teams, when it comes to, these ultimately they're humans first, right? And we can all bring our human stuff, our humanness to work. And I believe that it's important for us to acknowledge that we are not robots, we are not AI, we are actually real human beings with real things going on in our lives, and we have real needs. And the truth is, I believe that most of us have the same needs and at the deepest parts of our core. So if we can create spaces where we can be wildly successful and grow our practices, but also do it in a human way where we can show up as our authentic self, where we can feel valued and feel like we belong. I think sometimes that's the stuff that gets pushed to the side and called like soft skills, right? Oh, wouldn't it be nice if? you could actually enjoy going to your job and feel like you matter to people. And I think that right now we're in a unique space for companies or for law firms, you name it, that the grounds are just ripe for them to recreate that watering hole, whether it's virtually or in person, for people like, you know what? When I go to work, this is when it's all these real human itches can also get scratched. And because, you know, the trust in institutions are down, the people going to church is shrinking. We have a loneliness epidemic in our world today. We're disconnected more than before. I really feel like there's an opportunity for, in this case, law firms to create that space again.